Sir Edward William Watkin. He was one of the best known people in Victorian Britain and strangely forgotten. Strangely because of the amazing things that he did and also the amazing things that he failed to do. The date of his birth and the date of his death coincided with Queen Victoria, 1819 to 1901. He was an MP for 40 years. He built the last main railway line from Manchester down to a new station called Marylebone in London, and the Grimsby and Cleethorpes lines were part of that. It was called the Great Central Railway. He was actually director or chairman of 30 railway companies. His great project that failed was to have a railway from Manchester to Paris. And part of that was to join the 3 companies that he was chairman of. All that was missing was a channel tunnel. And in 1880 he started to dig it. And he got 2 miles and the government panicked. They thought the French would invade, which is ludicrous really. You can't invade a country through a hole in the ground, but they stopped him. So that was his first major failure. He developed the railway for Grimsby and Cleethorpes. The railway station at Grimsby Town was already there, but he developed it incredibly, particularly, obviously, the docks. He drained West Marsh and built the Union Dock and had it opened in 1879 by the Prince and Princess of Wales. He saw the potential of Grimsby and he laid the foundations of Grimsby becoming what it became in the 20th century, as you know, the largest fishing port in the whole world. So it isn't an exaggeration to say that he really created modern Grimsby. His work in Cleethorpes was even more dramatic. It was being eroded by the North Sea, and there are some frightening pictures of the erosion of the cliffs. He spent the equivalent of £12 million on creating a sea wall to defend Cleethorpes. Cleethorpes would have fallen in the sea. Behind the wall, he developed the promenade, he paid for a pier, and the most dramatic statement that he made was he extended the railway from Grimsby to Cleethorpes. The railway station at Cleethorpes isn't in the middle of Cleethorpes, it's on the sands. And he was making a statement that it was going to be a holiday resort. And that's what it became. Cleethorpes became phenomenally popular. And in one Saturday afternoon, there were 30,000 people arrived on a Saturday to Cleethorpes. And they all came on Edward Watkin's train. So he wasn't just a pretty face. He did other great things. One amazing success, one amazing failure. He decided to build an Eiffel Tower in London. He only had one condition: it had to be the biggest in the world. He bought an enormous park 9 miles from the centre of London, and the money ran out. It had to be dismantled. But the park continued to exist, and it's now the site of Wembley Stadium. The other amazing success that he had was in Canada. You'd think I was going over the top when I said he created Canada, so I'll modify it and say he helped to create Canada, because Canada in the 1850s, 60s was 6 British provinces, all of them fiercely independent, all of them with their own Prime Minister, and the British government wanted to see them unite, partially by them coming together into a single country, partially by building a railway that would unite the provinces. And Watkin was instrumental. He helped directly the colonial secretary. He developed one railway into the biggest railway in the world, but that became the basis of the railway that united Canada, the Canadian Pacific. And he was knighted by the British government for his work. So he was a quite amazing man, but here in our locality, here in Grimsby and Cleethorpes, are 2 real legacies of his work. The amazing thing is that nobody's heard of him. Well, the Watkin Society is trying to help remedy that. We're delighted to find that we just happen to have come along at a time where we can assist what is already happening in Grimsby and Cleethorpes. There's a feeling that things are beginning to happen around here, and we're able to promote, through Edward Watkin, some pride in the history of the town.
The programmes on the Heritage Channel are made with support from the National Lottery Heritage Fund.